So what's the difference between memory of the brain and muscle memory of the body? We can classify muscle memory as a kind of bodily memory which is embedded down from the conscious memory. So whenever we focus on any kind of martial arts movement or otherwise, we're essentially working with the conscious memory to try and embed it down, or to condense it down, to embed it, to flatten it somewhat into the subconscious memory, which is a form of energy. So for instance, we work with the forms, the physical forms, by linking these from the physical center of the body to the brain and the mind. So for instance, whenever we perform a punch, we do so with full awareness and intensity in that moment, linking the body, the center of gravity, to the breath, to the mind. Then this eventually compresses and condenses down into a kind of muscle memory which is related to the subconscious memory. So the subconscious is deeply related to the center of gravity, or the Hara Centre, which is the body's energy center, the body's physical energy center. So for instance, if I was to perform a punch just without awareness, just going through the motions, this wouldn't connect deeply with the Hara Centre, the physical center. In order to embed this action of the body more deeply, using the breath, or some sound that can deeply link to the physical center, which can resonate there. This is the reason for the sound forms of martial arts, whether it's the ha, ha, or the so, so. There are many different sound forms. So when we link this to the physical center, this embeds it down into the subconscious more effectively. So the idea behind the training is to hold something in your consciousness, a particular form, be it a punch, a kick, and to perform it with full awareness and intensity, physically and mentally, so that it becomes unified. For instance, we want to use the technical to become more embedded into muscle memory. So we retain this form of a punch, say, or a kick. We want to unify this with the body. So we may start with a technical exercise, jab, 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 and then try to retain it in the muscle memory or the subconscious. We don't then have to store it in the brain during an intensive fight situation, for instance. If we're trying to experience the fight and summon all the energy to survive, we can't retain these details of technical performance that we should have embedded previously. Now you might say, well, what if I don't summon the subconscious memory to be able to perform at the vital moment? Well, this is where the training comes in. So it's not a case of just going through the motions in training. The training is the real thing. The training is what's going to later embed itself down, become a subconscious memory that can be instantly retrieved when the intensity of the survival situation of a fight kicks off in some way. So this is what you're retrieving by full engagement in the situation ahead of you, whether that's training or whether it's survival. Most people can usually only summon the energy to retrieve this subconscious memory through a fight. It is possible, by becoming completely dedicated to what you're doing in that moment, to also summon the energy, the subconscious energy, to be able to perform things that you hadn't even practiced before. And then this becomes more integrated within yourself. So a lot of what we consider martial arts forms are just practicing what we already know from thousands of years, millions of years of evolution. This was known in the ancient traditions of martial arts, which is why they worked on specific stances which would just align the body to function as it already knew how, but through various constrictions of energy, such as societal constraints or cultural constraints. For some reason this was hampered. So with the forms, we're looking to geometrically align the body in such a way that we retrieve what we already know and bring this to our awareness in the mind. If this sounds too complicated, the best way to go about it is to practice with full awareness, which will then resonate deeply with the subconscious, which is a combination of what we've experienced and what we already know through DNA and through our genetics and through our environment and through our impressions which we have picked up through learning or through experience of some sort, whether that's conscious or subconscious. So the whole relevance of this is that in many ways what you're capable of today is how many times you've compressed down and embedded this conscious memory in the mind, or that you've retrieved some subconscious element, brought it to bear and brought it to your awareness, worked it out and settled it back down again. So this can always be retrieved when needed, or you can consciously create it and then store it as an energy form in the Hara Centre through the breathing, through intense, focused activity. So it's not a case of just mindlessly going through the exercises. These set the possibilities and the framework for the next form that takes place. So you're taking one form and turning it into something which is not, freeing up space to then become something that is.